Minutes past 9 o'clock, the 27th day of April 2024. Welcome aboard the Big Set on Western Uganda's biggest radio station, 91.2 Crooze FM. Great music. Good friends, we're right here on Plot 12, Muti Lane, Barra City, land of milk and honey. But we're online and on air on www.cruisefm.com/stream and on Crooze TV for TikTok and YouTube. So go to YouTube, type in Crooze TV. You'll be able to follow through all the way up to 11 o'clock, where we shall be talking about rationalization of government agencies. But to be a part of the show, you don't stop at only listening. You can be able to call in on 752-912-912 and 780-912-910. We are 912 Crooze FM on X and 91.2 Crooze FM on Facebook. Follow, give us feedback. I'll be able to read some of the messages all the way as we discuss this particular topic. Drop us a line on Twitter, that's X912 Crooze FM. I'll be able to read that, and on Facebook. The team is already constituted. We are going to be discussing rationalization. But before we go into a topic of discussion, let me give you a recap of the week. Particularly, if at all you're a person that gets to engage with a couple of people on your daily errands, watch out for red eyes. The outbreak is on. The Ministry of Health has been able to alert all of us. So I'm pretty sure that from wherever you are, you've been able to see some of the victims that have had to contract this very infectious disease. So make sure you, if at all you notice the signs and symptoms of red eye. But you shouldn't get scared, because it's not as deadly as COVID or HIV or any of those pandemics. The appointment of more than 300 assistant resident district commissioners will increase the country's wage bill by $3 billion annually. So we know that President Museveni appointed assistant district resident district commissioners this particular week, and this is meant to improve service delivery. Whether it is true or not, that is a matter of debate for all of us Ugandans. Now, the Uganda Law Reform Commission asked Parliament to revisit a section of the Human Assisted Reproduction Technology Bill 2023, which says will normally benefit couples and local singles. There is a law that is in the pipeline that will enable people to have other human beings carry for them children. It could be surrogacy, where you have a woman carry a child of another couple. So Parliament said this should be restricted to only those that are married or couples, that the LGBT does not take an opportunity to have children carried by surrogacy. Now, the head of the Criminal Investigation Directorate, the AIGP Major Tom Magambo, told the president that he knows the finances of the killers of the prosecutor Joan Kagezi. This was during the 7th Joan Kagezi Memorial Lecture, and we are happy that government took charge of educating the children of Joan Kagezi, and they have now grown. They've had their education in the UK, in Canada, in South Africa, and want to appreciate and applaud them. At least wherever Joan Kagezi is, she knows her interests were catered for. What more could be done other than educating the children? President Yoweri Museveni launches the Nachivubo Stadium, where he urged the private sector to invest in the education and sports sector. That also happened. So that $200 million facility constructed by Haj Ham Chigundu there, amidst a lot of resistance, but the president was able to put that stone up, and Nachivubo, we only pray that CAF is able to clear that, so that we can have the African Cup of Nations being hosted there. And Parliament on Wednesday finalized the debate on a draft of bill seeking to rationalize different government agencies. This is the story that is on everyone's lips across the public, and it's entirely that the government, through a cabinet resolution in about 2018, that culminated of discussions between the current permanent secretary and secretary to treasury, Mr. Ramadan Gobi, and General Salim Saleh, who is the chief of Operation Wealth Creation there, where they said that it's important that we reduce the size of government. Some of the duplication of roles in government should be taken back to rationalize these agencies to their mother ministries. There are already ministries that are fallen in for that have been merged already, agencies back to their mother ministries, and some others were able to see the light of day, like UNRWA, like the Coffee Development Authority, like the Dairy Development Authority. They remained and retained their where they keep standing. And that helped me discuss this and much more is Asimwe Bandizi, member of the Patriotic League of Uganda and a man from Mitoma. He wants to unseat Kahindo Tafide. We don't know whether he stands a chance. We shall see that in 2026. Peter Mbaka is a member of the National Inter Platform and is a big seater. And we have a guest, a very long time good friend, Asimwe Nelson, who is a member of the National Inter Platform, and Kanso Bwenje Dos Didit, who is a panelist on the big set. Let me welcome the guest, Asimwe Nelson. Good morning and welcome to the big set.
Thank you so much, Banyaji, and a good morning to all the people who are listening on to us outside there. I'm very happy to be back here, and I'm looking forward to having a very, very wonderful discussion.
All right, welcome. Good morning, Peter, and welcome to the big set.
Thank you, West J, and good morning to our dear listeners and all the panelists who are here. You're highly welcome. West J, I wish you a good closing this morning, but I wanted to make one comment on the Nachivuo Stadium, especially on the comment made by President Museveni. You see, it's a bit regrettable that our president can stand and say that Nachivuo belongs to Ugandans, but Ham has the right to collect money out of Nachivuo for the next 49 years.
Yes. What's up with that?
In the name of he has refurbished it and improved it. After all, even being given government money, taxpayers' money, to work on the whole project.
It's not anywhere in the record that Haj Ham Chugundu was given government money to rehabilitate and renovate the memorial
what
stadium.
The president said, he said it, that he was given government support. Government put in a hand using our taxpayers' money, and now the money is going to be collecting money out of us for the next 49 years. So I think Ugandans, when we see such things, that's why we get encouraged that our fight is for the good cause and it's justified. We must fight and make sure that we fight these kawukumis that are really eating us from down there.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Welcome, Peter Mpaka. Good morning, Asimwe Bandizi, and welcome to the big set.
Good morning, Westgate and my fellow panelists and our dear listeners. The reason as to why we always come here every morning. In a nutshell, allow me to say belated birthday. Happy birthday to General Mhoziki Nerugaba, and I congratulate him upon having made it 50 years and appreciate him, the good he's doing, the service he's offering to this country, especially on the issue of increasing the salaries and benefits of our men in uniform from the time he was appointed the CDF. Fast forward, Banyaji, my race with Otafire and the others that are just in the race to participate, it's already done and dusted. Even yesterday. These are facts. These are facts. Take them or leave them.
Hey.
I've been on a drive of multiple consultative meetings with different special interest groups. Even yesterday I was in my constituency meeting LOC 1s, 2 and 3s from Mitoma sub-county, Mitoma town council. The other day I met about 53 of them from Katenga sub. It's done and dusted. You just watch the space.
Okay.
Then Peter Mpaka, globally, where countries, especially third world countries and developing countries, there is what we call public-private partnership. The question should be, maybe, to do a forensic audit and see if we as Ugandans got a fair deal. His Excellency saying the government gave support to him by giving him land alone. That's already support to him, because land and the original Nachivubo memorial that was brought down for this redevelopment belong to the government. And it's even just a mere lease. After 49 years, everything will be back in the hands of government in a better state than the depredated stadium that we had. I wish you a very fantastic big seat show today, and the topics at hand
Okay,
are
thank you.
really hot. Let our listeners stay tuned in.
Okay, thank you, Asimo Evangelist, and welcome. Councillor Benja, good morning and welcome to the big set.
I'm fine, and maybe you.
Doing great.
Of course, I want to start off from the fact that over the week I've had several people, especially members of the opposition, of course, criticize the Museveni government, and especially President Museveni, for the appointment of the assistant RDCs. That it's a wastage of money and so forth. But you see, what the law has provided for, it can never be a wastage of money. Because the appointment of deputy and assistant RDCs
Is it provided for you in the law?
under Section 72 of the Local Governments Act. That there shall be for each district several deputy and assistant district resident commissioners.
So in the mind of Councillor Benji, for as long as it's in statute,
Exactly.
it will pass whether it is a burden on the consolidated fund or not.
Parliament must have known that these people are not volunteers. They are going to work for a salary. So they indicated it there. See, as long as the law is there, you must comply with it. Because the next time we are going to say, why is the staffing of the Uganda Human Rights Commission short or small? And then someone says, you see, they are not important because they increase on government expenditure. But our defense is you must appoint them because they are provided by law.
Okay.
So if the assistant RDCs are provided by law, even Museveni has been late, he should have appointed them as early as 1997.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's stop for a break. When we come back into a topic of discussion, don't touch your radio, because the best is yet to come with talking about recent rationalization of government agencies. Drop me your message on social media, Facebook 91.2 Crooze FM. Let's be back on the big set.
It's tough, it's bold, it's real politics. The Big Seat on 91.2 Crooze FM. Great music.
Great music.
Great friends.
Great friends.
Bold, it's real politics. The Big Seat on 91.2 Crooze FM. Great music.
Great music.
Great friends.
Great friends.
23 minutes past 9 o'clock on Western Uganda's biggest radio station, 91.2 Crooze FM. Great music, great friends. Good morning once again. My name is Wesi Gebanyaji, and I want to appreciate all of you that are locked onto the radio. From Soro to I can say to Chidepo, because you can be able to listen online on cruisefm.com/stream and on Crooze TV for YouTube. That is very seamless. Wherever that you are across the world, from Johannesburg to Cairo, in Egypt, you can be able to listen to the big seats, to Canada, to the Americans and Asia, all these places, very clear like that. But don't stop at that. Be a part of the show by calling in and sending us texts on what you think about the topic of discussion. The numbers are 0752 912 912 and 780 912 910. On Facebook, I've put a topic of discussion is on there on what you think about rationalization and how far it will cut on government expenditure. That there, I want you to be a part of it very greatly, because this it means a lot to all of us. I know your relatives, fathers, mothers, sisters are going to be laid off from public service because government has been able to merge some of the agencies in there. And what does that mean for you? But also the merging back of some of the agencies to their mother ministries. What does it really mean, and what does it mean to the taxpayer especially, and also the size of government by and large? To help me discuss this and much more is Asimu Banjezi. The Patriotic League of Uganda is what it stands for. Peter Mpaka, National Interplatform. Asimu Nelson, National Interplatform, and Council Bonje Deus Didit, who is a lawyer. And let me start with Nelson Asimu. Nelson, this has been a conversation that government started years ago, and the intention is very clear. We think we have a bloated government. We want to reduce the size of government. Some of these agencies are simply a duplication of other agencies or even ministries. But the intention was really to create efficiency in some of government ministries, departments, and agencies, so that you have a more efficient, lean, and organized structure. But now, years down the road, government thinks it must make a decision to take back some of these agencies or even dissolve them. Is this in the right direction, especially for you that sit on the other side, that criticize government and offer alternative policy? Even if you are in government, I believe this would be the right decision for you to make. Nelson Asimu.
Thank you so much, Banyaji. Maybe before I come to your question, I think Council Wenje, and that's why I have a challenge with lawyers, because I'm sure that you know that there is what we call a bad law, and you know that there is a law that can be enacted in bad faith. Those of you who did history, you know that during Shaka's time, when he lost his mother, he passed a decree, and everyone was made to cry for close to a month. So I don't think that was a good law.
No, we know. Likewise, we know in South Africa the apartheid law was discriminative, but it was law.
Exactly.
During the Jimmy Crow in America, there was discrimination of the black people, and it was law. We know slavery was entrenched in law.
So you can't say that because it was enacted by the Act of Parliament, then it's good. Then coming to your question, Banyaji, first of all, when we talk about merging and rationalization of these agencies, before we rationalize them, then we should first ask ourselves a very, very important question. What was the reason for the creation of these agencies? It means that before these agencies were created, then there was a need for them. It means that the mother ministries were sleeping on the job. So there was a reason as why they said, okay, now that these ministries are not doing what we want them to see, then it means that if we put up something in line with this, then it can do us a good job. That's why we see these agencies being midwifed. But the problem we have in this country, when the president called the NRM MPs for a caucus meeting at State House in Entebbe, he was trying to justify this, and he was trying to sell the idea of merging these entities, these agencies. And he was like, you see, when we merge these agencies, we shall be able to save 1 trillion as a country. And the reason behind this, even when you hear Katumba Wamara talking of now taking back UNRA to the Ministry of Works and Transport, he was also giving the same, that you see, when we now bring back UNRA to the Ministry of Works and Transport, we shall be able to save close to 34 billion per month as a country. But if the reason is that we want to reduce on public expenditure, we want to reduce on government expenditure, then we have so many areas that we should really touch on, rather than merging these entities that to me are doing something very, very important and a good job to this country. So if you are a president and you're saying that we need to merge these agencies and then save 1 trillion as a country, yet you are now putting 4 RDCs in every district, because RDCs alone, their salaries minus their deputies, their salaries are like 4 billion per year. When you include in the deputies, their salaries are like 2 billion. Now you bring the assistant of their assistant of their assistant RDC. Now you were saying that they will increase the budget by 3 billion. Now when you get 4 plus 2 plus 3, that is already a lot of money. Someone who is saying that he wants to cut government expenditure is this person who is running a cabinet of 81 ministers. The other time he had 80, and then he was like, Kasese, we need to get someone from Kasese. I think my man Kabyanga should be given a ministry. So you are saying that you want to cut the expenditure of government, but again you're increasing public expenditure by increasing the number of cabinet ministers you have. Someone who is saying that the reason for, to justify this is to reduce on government expenditure is running a convoy of over 60 cars. Over 60 cars. When Museveni had come to power in the year 1986, he was like, friends, we need to be frugal with our resources. We need to be frugal with our resources. So I don't think that he is still the same President Museveni who was saying that we need to be frugal with our resources when he's having a convoy of over 60 cars. When his son now appointed the CDF that my friend Asimo was trying to wish a belated birthday, is also running a convoy, then the wife a convoy, the minister a convoy, even those that are not ministers but they are somehow connected to him, they are also being accompanied with convoys and sharpshooters. But this is the same person who is saying we need to be frugal, we need to do this or that. So Vanyaji, you see, when we were growing up, for me, I grew up with my grandfather. When my grandfather was 96, you see, when someone grows past 90, then he starts behaving like a child. Because I remember we would go and then come and touch his beard and then tell, Grandpa, tell us who has touched you. Then he would say, you are Nelson. No, I'm Mpaka. Oh, yes, Mpaka. But yet, I'm Nelson touching him. When you serve him goat's meat and you tell him, Papa, this is cow's meat, he will say, wow, I like cow's meat. But yet you've served him goat's meat. So that's the trouble and that's the tragedy that we find ourselves in as a country, being run by someone who is in that age bracket. Because now people have identified a weakness. So now everyone sits down and comes up with a deal. You can, all these things, it is just because we are being led by people who are not concerned about Ugandans, but they are concerned about their appetite and greed to embezzle and eat. So this one was a deal. Someone sat down and he was like, if I sell this to the president, if I sell this to my grand jaja, I will tell him that this is goat's meat, yet it is cow's meat.
Thank you, Nelson.
So that's the trouble and that's the tragedy that we find ourselves in as a country. But no one should lie to us that we are doing this because we want to save taxpayers' money.
Thank you. Peter Mpaka. The intention is to save 1 trillion shillings that is lost annually because of the duplication of roles in the different agencies of government. There are even agencies that had become obsolete, definitely. Trisymbiosis, something of the sort, and the different types of agencies that government was running. Where you see it, is it the right time that government does an audit on public expenditure, knowing that our budget is definitely each year getting constrained because of first the lack of resources, but also is it contradictory that government is trying to save money on one side and then increase an expenditure on another side? How were to go about that?
Thank you, Westj. Now, when you put the question of cutting on public spending, my brother Asimwe has really discussed it very well. I will kind of be repeating what he has said, because public spending, President Museveni and his wife, they spend 1.9 billion per day, and it is passed. For the comfort of Wenje, the lawyer here, it is passed by Parliament. So it is money that is supposed to be given to them every day. 1.9. State House spends 1.9 to 2 billion. So if we want to merge, we should first merge and remind the president that his salary is about 3.6 million per month. Why is he spending 2 billion per day? So if we really want to cut on public spending, there are real things we can talk about. For me, I wanted to look at the effectiveness and the contribution of these agencies to the quality of life of Ugandans, to the quality of Uganda as the Pearl of Africa, and more so I want to concentrate on the agencies that have been retained. And I would love that maybe you share with me that list on the newspaper so that I read to the listeners the agencies that have been retained. We have UNRA, we have the Dairy Development Corporation, we have NADS, we have Uganda Microfinance Regulatory Authority, we have Coffee Development Authority, Cotton Development Organization, the Forestry Authority, Departed Asians Property Custodian Board, Road Fund has been maintained, Uganda National Meteorological Authority, the National Curriculum Development Center, Non-Performing Assets Recovery Trust, and the National Physical Planning Board. Now, for example, UNRA, what type of roads do we have that we should boast about? And we should fight so hard to maintain UNRA, when even the Trans-East African route from Mombasa through Kampala to Kigali to Zumbura and so forth and so on recently suffered a breakdown here to Busega, and it was a multi-trillion project. And we are here boasting that we shouldn't disband UNRA, because in the last 38 years of President, though UNRA was created I think in 1995, but in the last 38 years of President Museveni, we have been able to tarmac about 6,300 something kilometers of road. And when you compare with a country like Tanzania, during just the reign of Magufuli, in about 7 years, the man was able to tarmac around 27,000 kilometers of tarmac. For us, we have 6,000, and we are hailing UNRA as one of the best performing that we shouldn't disband. I saw MPs saying if we remove UNRA, we should maintain UNRA. So what is the contribution of UNRA that that asserts, that validates its existence. Look at the Diary Development Authority. I will tell you that the people of Koranoria here in Imbarara are suffering of a stench because of that Pearl Diary is there. What is the DDA doing? How can you offer a license to a factory that actually seems to contribute less to our society? Because sometimes you feel that even what is done there is benefiting a few individuals like the Banjis who are in the thing. Apart from giving a few
I know
jobs.
very many young people that
I've said
work
that.
at that factory.
Yes, I've said apart from giving
and
a
that's
few
their source of
jobs.
income.
Yes, I've said apart from giving a few jobs. And making the rest of the community suffer a stench. I want to move on. Let's look at the Forestry Authority.
I'm going to give you an opportunity.
I know
to
these
offer
guys
the
are here
information.
to disorganize me because they are part of the Kawukumi that is eating us. Forestry. Look at our forest here at Milo 2. Look at our forestry here at Milo 2. Do you know that an individual came and claimed the whole of that forest and took it off? It's no longer even belonging to government. It is a property of one of the generals in Museveni's government. So all these agencies, I may not comment on all of them because of time, are as good as nothing. The only thing they are targeting is just the small fish. The small salary of an HR working in that is the one going to suffer once these have been disbanded. But if we want to deal with the problem of Uganda, we must deal with President Museveni himself. We must deal with the NRM. You Ugandans, the Katera Nkonyas, my friends, Mabakunuchirwa, Echizunde cha Diary hali Koranoria. You must wake up and say, let us not be blindfolded by the small little jobs that our sons are getting, where they pay them 300,000, yes, I'm listening to myself because I know I have facts that all the milk that is made in that is even exported and taken outside of Uganda.
Let's stop for a break. When we come back, Asimu Banjis and Council Bwenje will have their way. Good morning.
It's tough. It's bold. It's real politics. The Big Seat on 91.2 Crooze FM. Great music.
Great music.
Great friends.
Great friends.
Great friends.
Great friends.
A quarter to 10 o'clock on Western Uganda's biggest radio station, 91.2 Crooze FM. Great music, great friends. Wesigye Banyaji is my name. And we're having a very fantastic morning here on Plot 12, Moti Lane, opposite Ntare School. Bara City, the land of milk and honey, is where we're streaming live from. And you can be able to listen to the show on cruisefm.com/stream. But also watch it on Crooze TV on YouTube and TikTok. That's courtesy of Creative Digital Media. And don't forget that you can take a chance and rewatch the show entirely on YouTube. So even when all this is done, you can be able to go there and watch. But also don't forget that if you miss the show, you can still go back at any time of your ease and watch the show. With me in studio is Asim Webanjizi, who is a man from the Patriotic League of Uganda, Mitoma Ruhinda, and NRM. It's a cocktail of things. Peter Mpaka, National Unity Platform, Nelson Asimwe, National Unity Platform, Kansobwenje, Deus did it, is a lawyer. The topic of discussion this morning is on rationalization of government agencies. There are a couple of allegations that came out there, saying that members of parliament were given about $500 as a kickback, bribe, whichever name it is, to not to merge some of these agencies. First, that's very little money. $500 is about 1 point something million.
MPs are cheap. MPs are cheap.
Because
These are people who offer just half a bar of soap for a vote. So the allegations, but the right honorable, they are cheap.
The right honorable Speaker of Parliament flagged down this allegation, and we definitely know who was merged and wasn't, and UNRA and the others are still very standing. Let me go to Asim Webanjizi. No. Let me allow you conclude and go to Asim Webanjizi. Council, I'll have you last, sir.
I don't want the NRM honkos on the panel today to start attacking me, because you seem to be among them. I don't want them to attack me and confuse my listeners that we should be blindfolded by the small gains we have gotten. I want to tell you that the best of the products that are produced by some of our factories we have here are actually exported. And we get you go and make research of the tea factories here in Bushenyi. The best of the tea is sent outside, and for us we are given the third class and the fourth class. So it is the same. You would want to discuss the small latto milk that we see in our markets, the few rich men who have tenders of supplying milk to that factory and so forth and so on. Have a few wins that you may want to massage yourself with. But for me, I'm saying, what is the quality, what is the contribution of these agencies that have been maintained? For example, what is the contribution of NADS to the people, to the Wananchi, to the Kakulankonyas? Because you will tell me NADS has given us some goats. I'm finishing, and you're going to get your time. You will say NADS has given out some goats, NADS has given out some cows, but the people who get those cows are the same people in the NADS. The real Kakulankonyas like USJ, you have never gotten even a hen from NADS. I am sure about that, and I can bet my nose on that.
Okay, thank you, Peter Mpaka. Let me bring in Asim Webanjizi. I think this is a very good project where government is saying, let's reduce how much we are spending on public service. We know for sure that the people that are working within these agencies, and they don't do much. Even what they do is done elsewhere. So how about we merge them and we have them work under the same structure, and it will save us some money. And we are asking, don't you think now this is going to reduce on the efficiency that had been created by some of these agencies, and knowing that it was the reasoning behind their creation? Asim.
Thank you so much, Banyaji, and our dear listeners. Once again, I will start with our local issues. You know, it's dangerous when you find an informed, educated medical profession politicking all the time. Rato, Pearl Diaries, the producers of all Rato milk products, they contribute 60% of all our milk product exports. if you quantify that, their impact on our economy is so massive and huge. At the local scene, they are the biggest employers in Western Uganda. When you engage the farmers that supply them milk, they tell you the kind of money they are currently making and the benefits they are having. They've never made that money. When you go to Koranoria as a trading center, almost 75% of Koranoria's economy is directly dependent.
I think you made your point very clear.
Directly
Let's go back to the topic. Yes.
Back to the topic. Fast forward. There are a lot of contradictions I'm observing in the merger of these entities, taking them back to their mother ministries. Much as most times I tend to agree and support most of our policies, but there is some soul searching that needs to be done in regards to this. My concern is we currently have an employment issue as a country. Where will these people go? How will their families survive? 2, the issue of cutting our public expenditure. We have other areas that should have been addressed as late as yesterday. Uganda as a country, we don't need a parliament of 529 MPs. Uganda as a country, we don't need over 100 presidential advisors. Uganda as a country, I don't care whether it's provided for by the law. Me, I'm speaking as from a taxpayer's point of view. My concern, am I getting value for my taxes? Uganda as a country, we don't need these over. Now I think it will be about 500 RDCs, deputy RDCs, assistant. What key role do they play? Even one individual would be enough per district. Because remember this. Listen. No. Listen.
Let's allow him.
Remember, the RDCs and RCs have support staff. They have secretaries, drivers, to mention but a few. So me, as Asimwe Nicholas Banjizi, that is concerned about unemployment, I would start by reducing the size of the parliament. The other day, we saw the PSST, the permanent secretary to the Ministry of Finance and the secretary to the Treasury, Ramadan Ngobi, trying to cut down the budget for parliament. They rose up in arms, and the money he was going to chop actually had nothing to do with their salaries, their allowances, insurance, but money that they wastefully spend. If we are to address this, most of these ministries buy new cars year in, year out. You find vehicles that are even below the mileage of 50,000 kilometers lying idle. Before you know it, they are auctioning them. These foreign trips for benchmarking, we have the best brains here in Uganda. Some of the countries no longer even benchmark. They just come, pick our proposals that are so nice and go and implement them. We also have to address the issue of corruption. How much money do we lose every financial year in corruption and embezzlement of public funds, related scandals? If you plug that, then you don't need to merge these ministries. And finally, what was the mischief that was being addressed by the time these entities were created? It's because the mother ministries had failed to deliver services. And we must give credit where it's due. UNRWA might be having its issues. CGE NADS might be having its issues. But they are outperforming their mother ministries that they are attached to. Look at the Ministry of Transport and Works. They also get money because some of these roads are under them. The road fund works itself because these roads are segmented under different entities. There are roads even like here in Imbara City that are under Imbara City. There are those that are under the division. There are those that are under UNRWA, then under the ministry. So, to me, there is some mischief in all this.
Okay, thank you.
And that's why I insist, and I'm an advocate of leaving these entities. We can address the issue of the burden of public overspending through addressing other areas, not laying off people.
Thank
Ugandans
you.
at that.
Benji, someone would say that, yes, no, can you keep quiet? Benji, someone could say that, yes, it's indeed that government spends and wastes a lot of money in other areas. But how about if at all one of the solutions is this? Why not implement it? What's wrong with going ahead to meeting some of these?
And that is why I have trouble with the first two speakers, Honorable Nelson and Impaka. See, the question of the day is rationalization of government agencies the solution to containing government expenditure? None of the two has answered that. It's like being asked to choose between beer and soda. You say, I want wine. No, the question is either this or this. So now, they are not telling us whether they are in support of rationalization or not, and if so or if not, why. And you see, when you trivialize the matter to President Museveni's age, then you lose the principle. The principle is rationalization the solution or not? If you think it is not the solution, then explain why. If you think it is, then also justify it. But when you tell us that you see Museveni is 90 years old and so he cannot think, so should we as a country depend on his decisions? No. The question is irrespective of Museveni's age. Okay? Let us say Museveni was 18 or even was as old as he is. Would rationalization as it is now be the solution or not? So I beg that maybe, and as members of the opposition, I want to encourage us to concentrate more on principles, okay, not on technicalities. You have been asked, if you were in government as NUP, would rationalization work for you? Now this one is irrespective of whether Museveni is still alive or not.
Yes.
So my
maybe cancel.
Yeah.
Let's stop for a break. When we come back,
all right.
you will have to give us what you think of what rationalization should be. Don't touch it down. We're coming back in the second hour of the show. The Big Set on Western Uganda's biggest radio station, 91.2 Crooze FM. Good music, good friends.
It's tough. It's bold. It's real politics. The Big Set on 91.2 Crooze FM. Great music.
Great music.
Great friends.
Great friends.
We're back. It's 3 minutes past 10 o'clock on Western Uganda's biggest radio station, 91.2 Crooze FM. Great music, great friends. My name is Wesi Gibanyaji. We are discussing government rationalization of agencies there. And our question is, do you think this will be able to help contain on public expenditure as we gear up to an efficient and more service delivery-centered government? And discussing this is Councillor Bwenje, Deus Didit, Asimwe Nelson, Peter Mpaka, and Asim Banjezi. The conversation is on our social media platform. You can be able to join that on Facebook and Twitter. That's 912 Crooze FM on X and 91.2 Crooze FM on Facebook. On the lifeline of the show, the telephone calls on 752-912-912 and 780-912-910. Before I pick up the lines, let me allow Councillor Bwenje delve more into answering this very particular question.
Yes. As I said, the million-dollar question is rationalization of government agencies the solution to containing government expenditure? And I find no trouble in saying yes, it is. And why? Because I, for one, I don't see what the national the NCDC can do. The
National Curriculum Development Center
can do what the Ministry of Education cannot do. What the Uganda Road Fund, the UNRWA can do, what the Ministry of Works and Transport cannot do. What the NFA can do and the Ministry of Environment cannot do. It's not there. What has to be done is to empower these ministries, unless my friends here are saying that we scrap off. So instead of merging the agencies, we actually merge the ministries. Yeah, but as long as the ministries are there, okay, then we have to ensure that all these agencies and parastatals and so forth are embedded inside the what? Inside the ministries of finance, agriculture, and so forth. But to try to cut them into pieces really is not the solution, because if you are saying that these agencies are performing way better than the parent ministries, then we should also remember that there are staff in the parent ministries who are still earning money. So why are they earning it? That's why I find trouble with having the IGG and then the State House Anti-Corruption Team. It is a real,
now we have
actual duplication of resources.
We have the investor protection.
Yes, you see.
And corruption, State House and corruption.
Yes.
We have the Minister of Ethics.
Yes.
We have the Ombudsman. Yes.
So that is just, I think, a trick for wasteful expenditure. So instead of trying to say that we are trying to improve on the services, on the delivery of services of our people, we should empower, for instance, the IGG. But there's no doubt, and it cannot be gainsaid, that the creation of the State House Anti-Corruption Team has done nothing else apart from the destruction of the IGG.
But
the IGG now is kind of dormant.
Councillor Bwenje, we know the reason
Whatever
as to why some of these agencies are created.
Yes.
Is efficiency, is having an organized structure. Will this be achieved if at all they're taken back in the ministry? Or, for example, if we took back UNRWA back to the Ministry of Works,
yes,
it will be a bigger block to go and blame the ministry for failure on service delivery.
Why?
But it's
Because
quick.
the ministry is big.
It's quick to first audit how much these resources are utilized in road construction and maintenance, if at all the budget is allocated strictly to UNRWA. But the ministry has different components of engineering and management.
Sure.
Yes, you have traffic is in the Ministry of Works. You have railway is in the Ministry of Works. You have issuance of permits, Ministry of Works. You have roads, bridges, water. But if at all you want to have an agency like UNRWA be able to strictly be in charge of road construction and maintenance, it would create the efficiency that you need.
No, so now, if I may ask, under what ministry is UNRA? Is it under the Ministry of the Presidency? Where is it?
What is UNRA?
The Uganda National Roads Authority.
The Uganda National Roads Authority falls strictly under the Ministry of Works.
Exactly.
Mm.
So now, why are you now saying it is under the Ministry of Works, but it should be independent? Why? So that kind of contradiction.
Mm.
If you are under a ministry, A, B, or C, you go back there. Maybe what we should say that the transition back should be phased.
Mm.
Okay, to allow the ministry have capacity to contain this child who had gone back and is coming now.
The prodigal.
Who had gone and now is coming back.
Mm.
The prodigal son. So the solution is not that these entities and agencies should be independent. No, let them come back, and then we empower and we give capacity.
Mm.
We actually ensure that there is enough capacity building within the parent ministries.
You
to contain them.
downplayed the aspect of how much money government wastes elsewhere, because Comrade Mpaka and
Yes,
Comrade
yes.
Nelson
Yes.
were alluding to the fact that,
Yes.
wait a minute, before this government becomes so pretentious on trying to create efficiency and more lean and organized systems that work, how about we interrogate how much money is wasted in other areas? Why are they ignoring that fact that so much money is wasted in managing a very bloated government,
Yes.
but look like they are trying to solve a problem, well knowing that there is even a bigger problem?
I see, two wrongs don't make a right. Okay, so the fact that there is over expenditure here does not mean there should be over expenditure here. And the order of trying to find the solution either here or here first doesn't actually. It is not an issue of whether we first reduce on the number of MPs and then we come back here. We can also deal first with the number of agencies and then we go there, or we handle them at the same time.
Okay.
But it does not negate the fact that we need to reduce the expenditure here, and the way to do that is by rationalization and by 100% or total rationalization, not to rationalize this one and you will leave this.
You already saw the argument before the floor of parliament.
Yes.
Is that there are agencies that the
After
members of
working so
parliament feel they are very important. They could not be merged or even taken back to their mother ministries. And some of the information coming in was that the reasoning behind some of these MPs' suggestions is because, for example, UNRA is easy to lobby and mobilize in a constituency for road construction,
No.
which may not be the case for another agency that does not directly affect the constituent.
That argument is weak. What are they saying? That the Director General of UNRA is more important than the Minister of Works? No.
Okay.
No.
Let's have better.
UNRA can never be more important than the ministry. Has all the money, all the time, all the space, all the personnel, all the money and the space, of course, the technology, all the infrastructure to consume UNRA. So UNRA must go back to the Ministry of Works.
But you see, there was also an issue of ministries had the best technocrats.
Yes.
For example, if you go to the Ministry of Finance, you find the best economists in the country. When you go to the Ministry of Health, you find the biggest experts and consultants are in there. And then you're going to create a UNRA that will not have the best engineers, but simply have the most remunerated members, employees. And you realize there is an indifference there within government.
You see, this is why I'm at a loss with Wenje's submission. And not for the sake of debate, but for the question of quality and purpose. Let's interrogate the Ministry of Defense, for example. You have a Ministry of Defense. Then you have a Ministry of Security. Then you have Police, which falls now under Internal Affairs. Then you have ISO, which falls, I think that is Security. You have ESO. You have Operation Suja, which is totally different. You have all these other DCs who are under the office of the presidency, and yet they are also part of security. Under the other DCs, you have the RISOs, you have the GISOs, you have the VISOs, you have the FISOs, you have every, and all that is duplication of roles. For me, what I want to say is that the big target we should discuss and the big head we should interrogate is the head of President Museveni. How does he think and lead his government into creating duplications of agencies? You have an NRM secretariat, you have Office of the National Chairman, all doing the same kind of roles.
You
These
know
ones
why?
are saying Jaja Tova Kumeini. No. And you see the disorganization. You see the.
Let's get to the information.
Let me submit.
Peter, let's allow the information.
You will have your time, and then in the midst of the two, you have the PLOU, you have the Pilau, you have the PLOE, you have birthday parties. All of them are spending taxpayers' money.
Okay.
So for me, I'm saying if we want to deal with the mismanagement of Uganda, the Ugandans, especially the ordinary taxpayers, must vote out President Museveni. We overhaul the whole system. That's when we will have the, whether we need the trypanosomiasis control agency, whether we have malaria consortium, whether we have these ones being greater than the other. We will discuss that when we cross the bridge. But as of now,
actually it is even a point of order. Is it in order for a member of NUP to dictate how the NRM should run its affairs?
No, they are using my taxes. They are using my taxes. They are using my taxes.
Okay, thank you.
I'm an advocate of democracy. And if you are a registered party, you remove your nose from the affairs of the other party.
Yes. It's on record now. Thank you, Peter. Yes, Bwana Simu.
First and foremost, I want to clarify a few things, like one or two, three of them.
Let's give him time.
Uganda's problem is not His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni or General Moses Kainerugaba. Whatsoever, Uganda's problem are the elites, the likes of Dr. Peter Mpaka here. 2, NRM has no business in regards how NUP you run your party. You also get money, about 4.8 billion Ugandan shillings from the taxpayers' money. By law, that money is given to you and given to all parties that have members of parliament in the legislature of Uganda. 3, it's quite absurd. An educated fellow like you, globally, you know with all serious stable countries that don't have failed states. Uganda isn't a failed state. They have several intelligence gathering agencies. Go to US, the one that you glorify and run to, and you want to turn us into puppets of serving their interests, something that we shall never allow. They have the FBI, they have the CIA, they have... Listen, when you are talking, listen, I don't need anything from you, Peter. No, it's not a point. They have the National Security Agents. So, we need CMI, we need ESO, we need ISO, and for your information, the PISOs, GISOs are under ISO. Finally, the RDCs aren't part of the security team. They are part of security. I know, that's what I'm coming to. They chair the district security meetings, they chair the state security meetings, or wherever they are pressed, because they represent the interest of the president. And the president, being the head of this state, being the commander-in-chief of all armed forces of this country, must be kept in the know in regards to the security and tranquility of this country called Uganda. So I want us, we need to disagree on some things, like the issue of merging these entities. That's why I want our dear listeners out there and my fellow panelists and our moderator Westgate, the question should be, what was the mischief that the creation of these entities were created to address? before we know what the mischief was, then we are beating around the bush. One of those mischiefs was the mother ministries were underperforming in regards to delivering quality services to Ugandans. And make no mistake about it, some of these entities are doing wonders and miracles. The issue of corruption, I for one, I've been a contractor since 2013. But I will tell you, I feel more comfortable looking for a contract in UNRWA because there is nothing like Kintu Kidogo. But you dare try to get a contract under any of these ministries or our local government agencies. It's on record and I will say it. I know some of them are listening. It's standard operating procedure. Every certificate of payment, once it matures, if you don't pay 10% of it, they will frustrate you. So that's why I'm saying, that's why, but let me conclude. That's why I'm saying, if we are to address the issue of wasteful expenditure of public resources and monies, we must start by addressing a cancer called corruption and embezzlement of public funds. Two, we must address the issue of this wasteful over political expenditure. Can you imagine our teachers are being poorly paid, and you hear Rafael Magezi here promoting salaries of all local councils should be doubled? What are you telling me? Double the salaries of all people in security agencies, police, UPDF, CMI, ISO. I will not complain. Because we are who we are, we have the freedom to work, to move at night, to work. Our LOCs, I've been meeting them this week. The reason as to why NRM has been in power for 38 good years, to a greater extent, is because of the role these LOC 1s and 2s play. And you can imagine, how do we appreciate them? How do we remunerate them? 120,000 per annum, 10,000 per month. If I make it to that parliament, and I'm sure I will, they must increase their monies because they are on duty 24/7. Whoever wants to borrow, whoever wants to go, everything starts with them. Whoever has fought with his woman or man in the middle of the night, they will run to the LOC. So we must realign our priorities as a country, do some soul searching, wait for our parliament when they table that policy paper for increasing the benefits of our men in uniform. They will make noise and they never touch on theirs. It's also irregular. I would love our constitution to be amended. How comes parliament keeps on determining how much they earn, how much they take home in allowances, travel this, travel that?
Will you speak the same language when you're in parliament?
But Banyaji, I will not change. I will stay the
Let's
same.
stop for a break. When we come back to the lifeline of the show, the telephone calls. Thank you for listening to The Big Set.
It's tough. It's bold. It's real politics. The Big Seat on 91.2 Crooze FM. Great music.
Great music.
Great friends.
Great friends.
Great music.
Great music.
Great friends.
Great friends.
To the MVPs of the show, the telephone calls. Call in right now and be a part of the conversation on 752-912-912-178-0-912-910. On Facebook, I can see the messages are on there. Manansi, just as you're saying, on the question of whether rationalization will be the silver bullet in solving government expenditure. They would have done that early. But now things are already worthless. They should level the ground if it is to be done well. And greetings to Peter Parker. Manas, just as I see you. Nwajira David, you're saying we could see decrease in the misuse of taxpayers' money and misuse of public offices by some of those officials. You're in Kazo. Mukalo Martin, you're saying the government is not serious. You want to merge agencies, but you're creating others. And yes, Musinguzi Onesimus, a lover boy, it is a big no. I have never seen any road being attended to and worked on by the Minister of Works, but only UNRA. I think UNRA has got a reason to stay in operation. Now, if it is NEMA that operates only dealing with the Katera Masinde, we can't deal with the Martians in the swamps. I see the message. Matthias Major, big contributor of the show. You're saying happy birthday, Matthias Major. To the point of discussion, I would wish to say that they should rationalize more districts that were cut out of their mother districts, and this will again bring back government expenditure. But if it leads to inactive work for the ministries, even members that will remain there, they will demand for more salaries. Wargaba Onesimus, you're saying this government will imagine someone who come and talk about the reducing of government expenditure while you are creating others. I see you there. Edgar Ice, you're saying merging in government is impossible. Mujuni Dennis, this is just useless. The government needs to be put down from the top. Let me read a message from Bamwine Lawrence. You're saying in this Uganda the agencies will be merged, but you will see the same budget going to these agencies. The structure will change, but the expenditure will not change. Let me end with Wargava Onesimus there. Yes, I read that. On the telephone calls right now on 752-912-912 and 780-912-910. Now, Juna Bruce, thank you for listening to the big set. Let me pick the calls on 752-912-912 and 780-912-910. The big set.
Yes, my best friend, West Gebanyaji.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Thanks for the show and your fellow panelists in the studio for today.
Yes, please.
You are speaking with me, Alex from Munkasi, Uganda.
Yes, Alex.
You can imagine the government of Uganda saying that the salaries of the LOCs should be increased, yet the salaries of teachers are not yet increased.
Okay.
Here, the government is not serious, sir.
Okay, thank you. On Crooze TV, Prince Yusuf, you're watching live. Mushabe Anselm at Maston Wajala David, Hilarix Martinelli West in Ruyanga. Thank you. Das Aguma, you're in Lezira in Kampala. Kwesiga Arnold, you're saying thanks for the show. Nyachenyi Rukunjiri, my brother Kwesiga, I come from there, and greetings to my people in Nyachenyi Rukunjiri there. Taremwa Hillary, you're in Chikagati, Nimsima Eugene, Olivia Arnold, Mugabirwe, Ronald, they are watching the show. Tinomcha Nicholas, you're watching all the way from Kashari. Mugabe Frank, our problem as a country is corruption, and all the money that is sent in ministries and agencies have not done the exact thing that they were meant to do. And the Mpaka group proved us that they can't manage that. Banet Bagel, you're watching from Kampala. Musabe Frank, you're saying Bobby Wine was in parliament and never raised any motion for reducing the huge salary and allowances the legislators get. Thank you. Keep watching, and let me pick more of the calls right now on 752-912-912 and 780-912-910. The big set.
Hello, good morning, West Gebanyaji.
Good morning.
Yeah, you are speaking to me, Majega Monique Dixon from Chigarama Shema.
Yes, Dixon in Chigarama Shema.
Let me first welcome you in this very important and political program. Yeah, and thank you.
All right.
Yeah, straight to the matter.
Okay.
Rationalization of these agencies, I see it is not the way to contain the expenditure of the government. Because these agencies, they are also conducted by the people who are also the taxpayers, and probably this will hurt them or weaken them by when they are struggling to develop their agents. But you, as the government, you are under empowering them and this can also lead to collapse of their agents. I'm not complaining that the money is not spent, but this is not the way. At least they should observe where is the weakness, but not coming to rationalize the agencies. Thank you.
Thank you. Big say.
Council Braga.
Yes, Katiban Kamwenje Mehedeza, good morning.
Good morning to you, sir.
Yes, to the matter.
Thank you so much for the big show.
Yes.
And I want to first appreciate for the panels that you have in the studios.
Okay.
I don't have much to contribute, but I just called in to appreciate.
Okay, appreciate. Thank you so much, Mahedeza. The big seat.
Yes, once again.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, this is Derek from Rentua.
Yes, Derek in Rentua.
Now, I think our Uganda,
Mm.
there is only a group of people whose interest is the one putting what let me say. Is the one which is putting in control. Just take a look at when Museveni wanted to Kujukwatako.
Mm.
Everything was going his way.
Okay. On 752-912-912-1780912-910. Call in and let's get to hear from you. The big seat.
Yes, hello, Banyaji.
Yes, good
nice
morning.
To hear from you.
Yes, good morning. Good morning.
Yes, it's Mwesigwa calling in from Bushenyi.
Yes, Mwesigwa in Bushenyi.
Yeah, do you know that we are a very poor country, even to pay basic things like salaries? We issue what they call bonds. That means we borrow to pay. That's why sometimes we delay to pay some of our people, our teachers, our medical officers, because we don't have money. So it's all about getting our priorities right.
And do you think by rationalizing some of these agencies, we'll be getting our priorities right?
For you, what do you think? For you, I'm so Uganda like me.
107529129121780912910. The gentleman just flipped it the other side. My job is to ask the questions. The big set. Yes, good morning. You're speaking very low.
This is Natkunda.
Yes, Natkunda.
Urimo kugira ngo iyo heze za URA manyali kibiki bari mwene bashemeye kubamba bareba da MP center ziba kubashafura nabo ebyo bugumaho konka babasara umusara
kare bari mnonga aba MPs kubashara umushara kadishumire mukazi. The big seat.
Good morning, Westgate.
Yes, good morning.
Emmanuel Kashonchurhura.
Yes, Emmanuel.
I would like to thank Council Wenze because he speaks regardless of the political party he supports.
Okay.
In other words, he speaks the truth. And on the rationalization of the government agencies, I think the government itself is the one that created those agencies at first. So if they have sat and saw that maybe rationalizing them may reduce on the public costs, then let them do as long as the people can still get services.
Okay.
And I would like to inform Honorable Peter Mpaka. Maybe he should stop giving opinions or else opposing others' opinions without suggesting issues.
Okay.
If you say that the factory of Paro should be removed, but you are not suggesting what should be created, then what should those people who are working there do? Is he ready to provide jobs for those who are working there if they leave? Thank you very much.
Okay. We are back in studio here. Nelson Asimo, you just heard the feedback of the people on regards to rationalization. The majority think it's the right thing to do as long as it's going to reduce on how much government spends on sustaining itself. But also the priority of, is it the most important thing that we rationalize? How about reducing expenditure within all these agencies even when they exist? That's something that we must keep to ponder about.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Banyaji. And before I come to your question, let me begin with this last caller who was talking about how many jobs Power Dad is creating and so on and so forth. Banyaji, most of my time I'm in Mukono. And Mukono is near Namanve, and then as you go to Jinja, there is another industrial park at a place called Mbarara. There are so many factories. But yes, we say that they are giving out jobs to Ugandans, but I want to encourage Ugandans to go and find out how those young boys and girls are being exploited. You can imagine working in a factory and they are giving you 5,000 per day, but you have to buy food, you have to pay rent, and you call that one employment? I don't think so. So as we talk about they are providing employment to many Ugandans and so on and so forth, let us just find out, yes, that one is there, but how much are they paying these young Ugandans? We cannot allow this exploitation to happen in our country, whereby we are here, but we are just working as slaves in our own country. Back to the question of rationalization. Council Wenje, you see, when the reason as to why, and I was basing my submission on the caucus meeting that President Museveni had with the members of the NRM at State House Entebbe, and he was telling them that the reason as to why we need to merge these entities is that if we merge them as a country, we shall be able to save 1 trillion per year. So that's why I was saying that if, sincerely speaking, the reason of merging these entities is to save some money, then we have so many areas whereby we need to cut so as to save a lot of money. You cannot tell me that you want to save 1 trillion, yet we have the IGG's report and the Auditor General's report saying that out of the 30 million collected by Uganda Revenue Authority, 6 trillion is used to pay is for debt financing, and then 10 trillion is stolen, and then the country is remaining with less than 15 trillion to run the entire budget the whole year. Then you are a president who is saying that we need to rationalize so that we save 1 trillion, and then those ones who have stolen taxpayers' money, they build hospitals, they name them, they give them names of your own children and your daughters-in-law. Then you go and say, leave my thieves, but let us merge these ones so that we can save this amount of money. So I don't think that we should rationalize these agencies under the disguise that we want to save some money. My point here is, first of all, look at these agencies that were not rationalized. Who heads those agencies? Look at NADS. Who is in charge of NADS? But NADS, we have NADS, then under NADS there is Operation Wealth Creation, and Operation Wealth Creation there is Onabagagaware, but it is under Sarim. So that one is untouchable. You can't touch it. Who heads NITA? That one is headed by the brother to the deputy speaker, Thomas Tayebwa. That one is untouchable. You can't touch it. Who heads UNRA? So they say, yes, MPs were bribed with around $600, close to $2 million each, but some entities they were not bribed.
But where I see you cannot even bribe me with 2 million shillings. How can a member of parliament be bribed with 2 million shillings?
That's the question. It's not an answer.
Because 2 million shillings is peanuts. It's very small money.
If in 2005 they were given only 5 million to say that let one individual rule forever, then you say that they cannot be bribed with two
with phone in the pocket
with 2 million. So my point here is, Banyaji, as I conclude, that we shouldn't be blackmailed as Ugandans, that we are doing rationalization because we want to save money. We are doing rationalization because someone here sat down and came up with a strategy of looking for a way on how to eat. We have so many deals in this country. Do you still remember the speed governor issue?
Yes.
Someone came up with that, ate his thing, and the thing disappeared. Do you still remember the thing of reflectors? What happened?
There was this whole thing where they went around the whole country constructing stations for motor inspection.
That SFG something. Yes. Do you know how it ended? Do you remember the issue of installing cameras in cities that they were going to cover crime and so? No, they are there, but people are being killed in broad daylight, and we've not seen any report. We've not seen any report. Now, we should not use what is happening in America to justify the wrong that is happening in Uganda. Uganda is Uganda, and America is America. It is not that whatever is done in the US is right, and we should do it here. So that's why I'm saying that someone sat down. It is all about something to do with the stomach. Vanyage, let me conclude with this.
Please.
You see, for example, how much does the ED of UNRWA earn?
ED of UNRWA earns about 40 million. About that.
How much does the Minister of Transport and Works earn?
About 10 million.
So it is all about struggle for eating. So these people think that if this one is now brought into my ministry, I will be now the one in charge. I will be the one to do all these other things. The reason as why these agencies were created, in economics we have what we call division of labor. And the bureaucracy. So they were created so as labor can be divided, and then that one would enable works and so on to be efficient.
We're stopping for a break. When we come back, we shall be wrapping it up. But don't forget that you can be a part of the conversation here when you drop us a line on our social media handles on Crooze FM, at X, and Facebook. We shall be able to read more of that. When we come back, I'll also be able to open the lines so that you can contribute more on the talk of discussion. Now, the question is the big boy figure in all these agencies. Can you have Kajuna being supervised directly by General Katuba Wamala? After the break, good morning.
It's tough, it's bold, it's real politics. The Big Seat on 91.2 Crooze FM. Great music.
Great music.
Great friends.
Great friends.
real politics. The Big Seat on 91.2 Crooze FM. Great music.
Great music.
Great friends.
Great friends.
We're back. It's a quarter to 11 o'clock on Western Uganda's biggest radio station, 91.2 Crooze FM. Great music. Good friends, we're on the final lap of the show. My name is Wesige Banyaji. Crooze TV, YouTube and TikTok there. And the comments are coming in on Facebook at 912 Crooze FM. My people here are engaged in a conversation that all of us must be a part of on basically talking about the expenditure of government. Does rationalization solve the problem? But also, is it a pretentious move by government? Because if I told you're wasting a lot of money the other side and trying to curtail the wastage this side, it becomes very difficult for us to understand the intentions. But you can be a part of the conversation on the calls that you make on 752 912 912 and 0780 912 910. Let's get to hear from you right now on 752 912 912 and 780 912 910. The Big Seat. Let's start call on 752 912 912 and 780 912 910. The Big Seat.
Crooze FM.
Good morning.
Good morning, it's you.
What is your name?
You are talking to Mtaka Ivan, senior aspiring councillor at Chigoto Parish. I'm now live in Mitiana. Yes, when you see the government of NRM Museveni and his people, those who have never stepped from Chitagwenda to Kampala, they see that the government of Uganda is doing well.
Okay.
But how can you bring MPs and their deputy RDCs, and even they are bringing assistant deputy RDCs in our government, spending a lot of money? I heard that in Chitagwenda we were going to receive the Tamaka Road since 2000 when I was born. Then you are saying that UNRA is doing the best. No. This government of Uganda, Museveni is appointing the RDCs and the deputy RDCs and even the advisors, but he's the one who advising them. Let's stop that habit and create a new government. He's bringing Mohozi on the desk. He's trying all the means to bring Mohozi on the desk so that we can sort our government. So make sure that we have retained the government, but saying that NRM is doing the best, never. We are crying over structures. Here say they are crying. The government, the civil servants are crying. They are spending a lot of money in the parliament. Omutaka Ivan Senior, live in Mitiana, aspiring councillor at Chitagwenda district.
All right. The Big Seat.
Hello, Crooze FM.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, Mbanyagi.
Yes.
Yes, you are speaking to me, Mr. Nicholas from Orgando, Nyarungo, Chirokashar. Yeah, I just wanted to thank for the program, for the good service you are doing.
Thank you so much. Let me end with this call on 752 912 912 and 780 912 910. The Big Seat.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Wolf.
Yes, good morning.
Me, Jordan, Manjiga Captain, DMS, straight from Garamashem. For me, first to come, panelists that you have.
We're back in studio. Council Bwenje just had the callers and the feedback on what I think all of us Ugandans should agree that some of these agencies have outlived their importance, that we need to disband them. And those that need to be merged should be merged. But it should be smooth, that we don't have people being left without jobs.
It's not about those that need to be merged. There's no doubt that all of them who have escaped from their parent ministries must come back. See, when you talk about Madam Kajina and the brother of the deputy speaker, yes, that gives us reason enough for them to come back to the ministries and be supervised. Okay, so Kajina should stop being a big girl who is above the supervision and the direction of the Minister of Works. Okay, whichever, but the Ministry of Works should have control over what happens. Whatever happens as regards the construction of roads. So you should never have another entity which is autonomous and independent constructing roads when the Ministry of Works has no idea about it. So because we want somebody to hold accountable, and I don't want to hold Kajina accountable when General Katumba is there. I want to go to him and say, why is this Ushenyu road so poor? Why? Okay, so I still maintain that irrespective of the corruption going on in State House, in Parliament, in Cabinet, in the Ministry of Defense, it does not take away the right of Ugandans to save 1 trillion in the rationalization. Okay, we can still save that 1 trillion and then fight corruption. But of course, in order for government to save that 1 trillion on behalf of the people of Uganda, government must be tough on corruption within the ministries of government. Okay, and of course we have to make sure that people receive value for their money, their contractors and so forth. And then as I wind up, the Honorable said, I think around half an hour ago, that members of parliament have the right to increase their own salaries and allowances as and when they want to. But that is not true. The Supreme Court has guided that unless the executive has initiated a bill to increase the salary or even allowances of members of parliament, then parliament cannot on its own. No. You see, then cannot on its own increase its salaries or even allowances without a bill being initiated and even being voted on. And so of course I know he's a law student. I want to invite him to read the case of the Parliamentary Commission versus Msj Wilson. It's a Supreme Court Constitutional Appeal number 18 of 2016.
Okay,
That's where the Supreme Court guided that it is unconstitutional for Parliament on its own.
Okay, thank you, Council. Yes, Peter Mpaka.
So for me, maybe as we get to the tail end, I want to tell Ugandans, especially us the Katera Masindes, that we must interest ourselves, and seriously, we must interest ourselves in the kind of mentality and thinking of President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni and why he duplicates roles in his government. Because if we want to merge, we should begin with the State House itself. State House, no manyango abakukore mu State House harimu gardeners 421 gardeners. Abakware bitanda. Yes, do we how many state lodges? How many state lodges do we have countrywide? Count them. Do we need gardeners 600 and what? The abakware bitanda 400 and what? Cookers. I mean the cooks. How many are they? And all those numbers. So for me, and you have a vice president in Jessica Rupo, you have a de facto vice president in form of General Salim Sare, and all ministers are running to him for consultations. He's running another side of government. You have ministers, you have deputy ministers. Yes, he may be a senior statesman, but why does he have more powers than even people who are in government themselves? Yet he's nowhere in the structure of government. So unless we sit down and address these things, this whole discussion of rationalization is a waste of time. It is at the end of that. That's why for me I began with the quality of services that Ugandans receive from these agencies. The quality of services that Ugandans receive from the ministries. You have the best technocrats in ministries. Here you have power brokers in agencies who are paid a lot, who are even better equipped than those in the ministries. And then you have Wenje here discussing the legalities of it is in the law, it is not in the law, this is wrong, this is right. For me, I think we must deal with the politics that have eaten up our society. We must deal with the bad governance of NRM and President Museveni. You can't have a party secretariat. Then you have Jaja Tova Kume in here. Then you have Pilau also doing their things. They are fronting a military general. They are fronting a military general who is not supposed to be in politics. And then we keep clapping our hands as if this is a Nagalare country. Uganda is not a Nagalare society. We deserve
but even
a better destiny.
Even the big cities, the best political talk show in Western Uganda, it shouldn't have words like Nagalare being spoken on. What is Nagalare now? Nelson, your parting shot.
Thank you so much, Vanyaji. Number one, we don't need rationalization. What we need as a country, we need to fight corruption. Number two, we need to deal with egocentric leaders. And then lastly, if we want to save this country, fellow Ugandans, most especially the young people outside there, let us deal with removing Museveni, and we make sure that his son doesn't succeed him as a president. Uganda will be a better country for all of us, our children and our children's children. Thank you.
Thank you, Nelson. Asimo Banjizi, don't forget to call on people to go at the university and vote Agava Ian as your parting shot. Yes.
Thank you so much, Westgate. I will start with things that are personal. One of them, I beg and kindly request and politely beseech each and every Bishop Stewart University to go and vote a lawyer in making Agaba Ian that will transform the future of Bishop Stewart students community.
Okay.
Two, allow me to appreciate the people that helped me yesterday to have 6 successful consultative meetings in Mitoma Sub-County, Mitoma Town Council.
Thank you.
And finally, I beg.
You had your parting shots.
Finally, I beg. Uganda's problem, it's not General Museveni, Kaguta Tuhaburwa, or General Muhoozi Rugaba, but with the elites, the likes of Mpaka and my brother Asimwe, an economist. We need to do soul searching, how to get involved in the politics of
our time is fast spent. I want to appreciate every person that has been a part of the conversation this morning. My punchline this week, please, students of BSU, let's go and vote Ian Agava. He's my friend. I wish him well, and I hope that he wins the election. God bless you. Let's meet next weekend on The Big Say. Good morning.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of this radio station or its management.
This radio is regulated by Uganda Communications Commission, UCC.